Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 1-0. Thank you for joining me on another bright and shiny day. And it's a bit of a bonus video for you guys today, but it's not part of the 1-0 show. I've dedicated its own little segment because we've got a very special guest joining us on the 1-0 show, episode 2. So make sure to catch that. Should be coming out in the next couple of days. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're new. And we'll get straight into it. It's a time where every YouTuber, every content creator that talks any bit of football does my football Premier League predictions. So I'm going to do the same thing too. Please, like I said, if you are new, please like and subscribe to all that business. I'm going to go through my 3 relegated. I'm going to bunch them up a little bit. 20th position, last on the ladder, the Wooden Spooners. I'm going for newly promoted team Norwich. Even the last time when they came up, there was just something about Norwich where they lack that sort of, you know, Brentford has got Ivan Toney, and Tony's there. He scored 30 plus goals last season. He was unbelievable. They've got the likes of Mbuemo and all that players. Norwich have come up to the league and arguably lost their best player to Aston Villa and Buendia. I don't see defensive. They haven't really gone inside that many players. I know they just signed an American the other day. Obviously, still got Todd Cantwell, still got the Pookie Party. I just don't see them really challenging again. I feel like 16th is their peak. I don't see them finishing any higher up than that. And unfortunately, I see them going back down. Speaking of going back down in 19th position, I don't want to see them relegated. I've got a soft spot for Watford for whatever reason, especially now with the cycling GK, Benny Foster, aka the GOAT. I've got Watford coming in at 19th. Again, just think if there's a team from this bottom 3 that will stay up, I think it will be Watford. They've obviously got the likes of Ismail Sarr. The defense is okay. They've obviously got Deeney, but Deeney's not going to play that much. They've gone and signed Danny Rose to bring a bit of experience in. Again, same thing. I personally have looked at the teams that I think are getting relegated. I've looked at the teams above them, and I've said which squad is better. Not really like which of their top stars are better. So for that reason, I'm going to go Watford, get relegated. And 18th, which might be a little bit of a shock to some of you, I think Dyche's time has come to an end. I think Burnley's time in the Premier League has come to an end. I think the expiry date maybe finished last year, but they got a bit lucky. Boring football, can't score goals. It did wonders for them a couple of years ago. I think now is their time where, as Claude said, rest in peace, it's time to go. So I think Burnley just scrape into the bottom 3 and unfortunately get relegated, which means Dyche returns to the championship where I think he belongs. Dyche is a championship manager, mate. He's a bit of a hard nut in it. Now, in 17th position. So those are the 3 that I've got relegated. Drop in the comments who you think will get relegated and why. Now, 17th position, maybe again questionable. I'm lucky I waited till today because I've got Southampton. Obviously lost their top goal scorer in Danny Ings. They've lost such an influential player. Yes, Shay Adams is there. Is Shay Adams as good as Danny Ings? Personally, no. I think Danny Ings is a huge, huge loss. If that wasn't bad enough, they've lost their big man up front. They're about to lose their big man in defence. Vestergaard supposedly is very close to signing for Leicester, which is great for Leicester because they need to strengthen that centre-back position. However, for Southampton, they lost the game 9-0 to Man United last year. They lost 9-0 to Leicester the season before. Their defense already isn't that strong, and to lose arguably your best defender, I think it's struggle time for Southampton. Don't think it's too good, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if Southampton get relegated, but as I said before, I think their squad is a little bit better than the likes of Burnley and Watford. Now, above them, I've got Newcastle, and if there's a team that could also get relegated, it's Newcastle. Really haven't gone and done anything in the window. Obviously, Callum Wilson's still there, good striker who they had last season. I don't think it's going to be a pretty season for Newcastle. However, I do think they're going to just stay in 16th. If there's ever a manager that knows how to keep a team up in the league, it's Steve Bruce. It's not going to be pretty, but I think he'll do it. In 15th, I've got Brighton. A lot of people are starting to rate Brighton a little bit. I personally think they haven't really gone and done that much. Ben White, the best defender, has just been sold. Supposedly Dunk is ready to come back from injury. Matt Ryan, obviously, I know he wasn't playing last year, but they've lost a bit of depth as well. How much longer can Malpai do it? I like Trossard. Trossard, I think, is a good player. Could have a good season again this season. However, 15th position, I think, is fair for Brighton. Don't really see them doing too much. It's been good that they've been able to keep Bissouma, because if you take Ben White and Bissouma out that team, I think they're in struggle town. But I think Brighton, Hove Albion, so they're unfair. They've got 2 teams. I think should stay up in 15th position. Now, in 14th, I've got the only promoted team that is going to stay up in the league, and that's Brentford. I mentioned before, Ivan Toney, 34, 35 goals last season in the Championship. Statistically, those coming up from the Championship tend to score about 50% of the goals the season after in the Premier League, which means if he can get around 15, 14, 16 goals, I think that's a pretty good return. I think most clubs would love that and expect that from their striker. If Tony can do that, if Mboimo as well, one of the wingers can put a good performance, they've strengthened the defense, but besides from that, they haven't gone out as much as what we usually tend to see from promoted clubs. COVID's probably got a massive impact on that. I do like Brentford's manager. I think he can bring a new dynamic a bit to the league, but I think Brentford might struggle. But I think 14th, mid-table finish, stay up in the league. I think staying up should really be their target. First game against Arsenal, I want to put it past them to get a win. I want to put it past them, and that can be a lot. We've seen Norwich last time they were in the Premier League started off 4-0 or something like that. People go, can Norwich do the unthinkable? But they didn't. So in 13th position, I've got Crystal Palace. Now, I originally had them a little bit lower. However, I did a bit of my research on Palace. Patrick Vieira, hell of a player. Don't know how I feel about him as a gaffer. It's I think Lampard had more of like a resume behind him. It's a bit of an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer move, if I'm totally honest. Ole really had nothing behind him on his CV to say, I deserve this job. Likewise, Patrick Vieira. Wasn't good at New York City. Wasn't good at, I think, went to a French team. So it's going to be interesting. What he has done, though, is gotten rid of the likes of Townsend, the likes of Van Aanholt, which maybe their fans are looking at saying, what are you doing? But if they can sacrifice this season to play some young kids, I've obviously signed Olesi from the Championship. Eze hopefully comes back near the end of the season, fit to go. Wilfred Zaha could have that season. He's an Arsenal fan, we know when he was younger. Could be having that. Patrick Vieira is my manager. I'm going to do something special. Palace, I expect to do okay. Don't expect them to have a standout season. I think 13th position could be an alright place for them. I think not much better than that. In 12th, I've got Wolves. Obviously, Nuno, they've lost their manager, gone to Tottenham. Jimenez is crucial for this Wolves team. We saw last year, as soon as he got injured after that horrific injury, Fabio Silva, good player, but brings a different dynamic to the team and a dynamic that I don't think Wolves really were expecting. They've obviously lost Rupert Chisholm as well, the goalkeeper. It's going to be interesting for Wolves. Then I don't know too much about their new manager. I know he's Portuguese, so they've got that link there. I think 12th is a perfect spot for them. They're not too good, but they're not too bad. So I think another mid-table, boring season for them. I think it suits them all right. Now, in 11th, I've got West Ham. Now, it could be a bit controversial, could throw some people off. Obviously, having a fantastic season last year, which was great. They had Jesse Lingard, which was instrumental to that. They haven't really gone and pushed for Jesse Lingard. They haven't really gone and signed any other players. And the reason why I've got them 11th on the ladder is because they're playing Europa League football this year. Their squad isn't enough of a squad to really challenge in both. And by challenging the Premier League, I mean maybe we can sneak into another Europa League position. So and I feel sorry for David Moyes because he's done exceptionally well with the team he's got. And they really haven't backed him. No real genuine signings for this West Ham team when you could use Europa League as a bit of a draw factor. Look, come to West Ham. We're finally playing some European football. It's a good time maybe to make a move to West Ham, come to London, play in the Premier League, and it all could be good. Forever blowing bubbles. They haven't really been able to do that. So whether they play the kids in Europa League and maybe accept that maybe Europa League isn't where it's got to be and focus on the Premier League and hope to make Europa League spot again, hopefully financially become a little bit better and then progress from there. Or they just bite the bullet, try to balance both, could risk injuries. Antonio's an injury rate to happen. Absolutely love him, but he's going to get injured this year. Hope to touch wood, hope he doesn't, but it's bound to happen. It happens every single season. So I think the depth for West Ham is something that could really come back to bite them. Now we're going to move into 10, from 10th position to 5th position, and then we're going to get into the top 4, which is might blow your socks off. In 10th position, I've got Everton. Obviously, Rafa Benitez has come in, taking a different approach to when Carlo Ancelotti came in. Carlo Ancelotti came in and he signed stars. He signed James Rodriguez. Okay, he signed Allen as well. Let's not forget, they've still got Allen, the Brazilian centre midfielder. Good player, in my opinion. However, they got Demarai Gray for like 2 mil or something like that, which you see now, it almost makes you think, what's wrong with him? He was not bad. It was at Leicester. He was young. He went over to the Bundesliga. You sign someone for £2 million. You go, maybe he's got some issues. He's been killing it in pre-season, to be fair to him. So it is going to be interesting. I think Everton, I wouldn't have them much higher. I just, Richarlison had played the Olympics, so is he got to be fully fit for the start of the season? Probably not. How much does James Rodrigo really want to be there? He said it on a live stream that, yeah, it's similar the Messi and Aguero thing to him and Ancelotti. He came to Everton for Ancelotti. Now Ancelotti's left. I don't think James Rodriguez really would have gone to Everton if just because they're a good club. You know what I mean? So it's got to be interesting to see how the whole Everton dynamic works. Lucas Digne, obviously, I like the defense with Godfrey, Digne. Got some good players down there, but that should be interesting to see. Now in ninth position, I've gone for the Gunners. Arsenal fans, what are your expectations? What is a good season for Arsenal? Is it making Europa League? They obviously don't have European football this year, which means maybe they can focus a little bit more on playing on the Premier League. They've obviously gone strengthened the defense in Ben White. Attacking wise, they still maybe Smith Rowe, a lot of dependence on him. Arsenal fans are praying that Bukayo Saka can just have another coming of age season, praying that Aubameyang can turn it up somehow, praying that Lacazette can switch on. Obviously got Eddie Nketiah, who's got a lot of talent. Will Martinelli come back in and break that? It's a very young and just a weird balanced attack to really push for a 7th, 6th or 5th position. On their good day, Arsenal can play some good football. They've strengthened the defence. Leno's still obviously down there. Gabriel and Ben White working together. Tierney hopefully can stay fit for a full season, which I think is important for them. They've kept Xhaka, and I think Xhaka was probably one of the better players last season. So on that side, it's a positive note. Arteta obviously has got to be under fire once again. I think 9th. I don't see Arsenal finishing any higher than 9th. I don't see them finishing below 10th, but I think it could be another struggle town for Arsenal. And the fact that if they could, Aston Villa got Danny Ings, and I haven't even read Aston Villa yet. You can see it on the screen now. Villa I've got in 8th position. And I think the signing of Danny Ings for 30 on mil, Buendia, these two players that Arsenal really could have signed in important positions for their team, but they've gone to Aston Villa for reasonable fees. 30 mil nowadays looks like donuts. So I think Arsenal will be looking at, an Arsenal fans, I know if I was an Arsenal fan, if I'm saying Buendia go, and is a position and a player that they really do need, go to Aston Villa. There's not even the Jack Grealish factor in there anymore. So what is your incentive to play for Villa? I'm liking Villa a lot. I'm liking them a lot. I like how their owner came out and said this is our approach to sell in the selling of Grealish, where you can't replace him because he's irreplaceable. So we're not going to go and sign a £100 million player. What we're going to do is strengthen it up with 3-4 different players. They've done that with Buendia, with Ings, with Leon Bailey. So they've really added depth to that forward position as well, because they've got Traore in there as well. They've got a Trezeguet also. So what this means, maybe Watt can shift to the left, Danny Ings on the up front, in the middle, Bailey on the right, Buendia in behind. To me, that's a good front four. I think Danny Ings, if he can stay fit, I think could go down as a signing of the season, which is why I've got Villa in 8th. I wouldn't be surprised if they can push for that 7th or 6th, which is crazy to say because they've just sold their best player. And what they've done with their best player is exactly what clubs like Aston Villa would want to do. Let's bring a player in through the youth team. He's 25 years old. Let's sell him for 100 mil. That is like the ideal scenario for pretty much all the teams below them on the ladder. So I know they obviously want to keep him, but at the same time, I look at it as sort of a positive way. And I do like Villa. I think Villa are going to become like a Crystal Palace in the sense of establishing themselves as a Premier League team, not like a team like Norwich as of such. You just got to bounce back and forth between the Premier League and the Championship. Now, 7th, I've got Spurs, pretty much because they've got to keep Harry Kane. Harry Kane leaves that, I think they plummet down the ladder. I don't see at the time of recording this, Harry Kane they've said nothing about his move to Man City. Nuno did announce that he's ready for the weekend against Manchester City. I don't think he would say that if he pretty much knew that the transfer was close to being finished. So with all that in play, I think Harry Kane stays. I think he becomes instrumental once again to keeping Spurs in some sort of European football fight. I think Son should have a good season. I'm a big fan of him. Got him on my fantasy team. Fruity Fantasy coming tomorrow, so watch out for that. Besides from that, I know they strengthened the defense. Nuno finally taking a, a bigger club. He had good reports a couple of years ago at Wolves. A lot of teams were saying he's a good manager. Let's see how he goes. Now at sixth position, and this is a team that I've got high raps on this season. I think Leeds, sixth position, hopefully can get into European football. I know I'm a Man United fan. There's all that rivalry, but I'm young. That rivalry wasn't around when I was born. It's past my day. First game of the season, however, I'm going to be streaming it on 1-0 on YouTube, so make sure to tune in for that. And we're going to whoop them. So Leeds, however, I do think they're good. Junior Firpo, they're on the left back from Barcelona, young talent. I think good player. Fits their system quite well. He came out and said stuff about Bielsa that he hadn't really done that much studying and work on his talents and his skills before he came to Leeds. We all know what Bielsa's like. Everyone loves him. So they can keep Patrick Bamford. They've signed Harrison on a permanent deal. Calvin Phillips also had a very good Euros tournament. His wave has sort of died down a bit, but let's not forget that. I think Leeds in sixth position. I think it's a good season for them. And possibly could get fifth. In fifth position, however, I do have Leicester. Now, the top four is very interesting. I think Leicester, they've got a bit of an allergy to the top four, as we saw last year and we've seen before. Assuming Leicester keep James Maddison, it's a positive. However, he wasn't too good near the end of the season. Don't think Jamie Vardy is going to have an instrument. And I know this is a bit whatever because they did just beat Man City for a trophy. I don't think Vardy's got to have that season that we know James Vardy will have. I think Iheanacho becomes instrumental to that team. I think Fofana at centre back is a big loss, and if they do sign Vestergaard, I think that's a good signing because they're not going to get him for a massive fee, and it's him and Soyuncu at the back. It's a brick wall. So I think on that note, it's quite positive. My way of saying this was who's better than them. And I can see four teams who are better than Leicester City. So for that reason, I've got Leicester coming in fifth. And to be honest, I don't really see them pushing for that fourth position that much near the end of the season. A bit similar to last year. Now, the top four. I'll go 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow. It's pretty crazy. I've got Liverpool coming in fourth. And I know what you're saying. I know I don't like Liverpool. But I like to say that I'm quite fair in this. I've got to be careful what I say because the top four gets controversial. And I just watched the kickoff where they all spoke about it. So all four of these teams should be saying, we can win the league 100%. Yes, City are the clear favourites. They've signed Grealish. If they do sign Kane, I think it's done. However, it's very difficult. I know they've done it before as well, but it's very difficult to go back to back. It's also part of Man City in saying that, you know what, we've got 3 of the last 4 years. Champions League is a must. So we could send them to the end of the season, maybe prioritising that. However, you look at that, their bench team could make the top 4. So they obviously have that insane depth. Another factor could be, I'll get to Man City later. Liverpool, though, I just don't think they're going to be as good as what people might be assuming because Van Dijk's back. Their front three wasn't that good last year. I think Jota is crucial. And if I'm Liverpool, I'm starting Jota over Firmino. I think they've got favourable fixtures to start off. I think they've got Chelsea early on, which is obviously a difficult game. But Norwich to get the season underway, I'm expecting a 3-0 or 4-0 win. Okay, so which could be good for them. How good is Van Dijk going to be since coming back from a terrible injury like that? Who knows? Okay, there's obviously clips going around, but I wouldn't read too much into that. I think it's going to be... I don't see fourth position this year being as far off as fourth position in other years. I think Liverpool, who've got to finish fourth, will be neck and neck for almost the title throughout the whole season. That's how close I think the top 4 race is going to be. So I wouldn't say that having a bad season. I just think there's maybe 3 teams who maybe got a bit luckier and will just better throughout the whole course of the season. No team in this top 4 can afford to go in a 4-game form slump. Because obviously City is a team to beat. No one can afford to go in like a Damn, we've just lost a game to Palace. We've also unfortunately dropped points to Wolves. We've gone to West Ham, just snuck a 1-0 win. Then we've got a team like Leicester, and we lose that. I don't think any one of those teams can afford to have a form slump like that, which leads me to third position, and I've got Chelsea. I've got Chelsea in third position, which I know you're thinking, I know who's got first, but it's not who you think it is. Chelsea European champions. And it's crazy that they're not like yet outright winners. Chelsea could very well easily win the league. Not denying that. Very well easily go, yep, sweet. We're going to win the league. Fantastic squad. They're about to announce Lukaku as well. Don't know if I like that signing, but it's a story for another day. Man City, it's so hard. The top four, I nailed the top four last year as well. Got it spot on. Man United second. I got it spot on. I just think, I don't know. The top four is so difficult. It is so difficult. It's not funny. It's again. I think they might maybe have a little bit more of a form slump than the two teams in front of them. It's hard, man. It's hard. This is so hard. The top four this year, I think, is the hardest it's been because all four of these teams can win the league. I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool win the league. If I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm sitting there saying, this is cool because Liverpool don't have pressure this year. The teams in front of them do. Because Chelsea, you've got a fantastic team. Is there pressure on Tuchel to win the league this year? I think you'd be kidding yourself if you say no. The same way there should be pressure on all four of them, I think Liverpool have less pressure because I don't think they've got that fear factor anymore. I think people will play Liverpool and say, all right, we can maybe beat them. But at the same time, Liverpool would be saying, people are backing us down. This is a huge, fuck you season for Liverpool because I don't think people are giving them a lot of credit. I'm one of them. But I think they have a little bit more. I think they've got more holes than the three teams in front of them. Chelsea third, which takes me, I'm going to announce the first position. The winner of the Premier League 21-22 season. Drum roll, please. Manchester United. 21 is coming, baby. Hashtag it. 21 is coming. I know what you're saying. Oh my God, Costa, you're a Man United fan. This was always going to happen. First of all, you have to believe in your team. Imagine if I started the season going, nah, Man United's not winning the league. What's there to look forward to? I do genuinely think we can win the league. Deep down, do I think we will? Not really. Not really. But no, I'm confident with it, man. We've strengthened our defense. I think the Varane signing is getting downplayed so much. So much. There was a bigger hype for when Liverpool signed Kanate. United have gone and signed Rafael Varane, a World Cup winner, 4-time Champions League winner, multiple La Liga winner. He's the backbone of that French national team. Who was his centre-back partnership in the World Cup? Umtiti. Look at Umtiti or Varane. Who would you take? Umtiti just got brewed at Barcelona's friendly game. So I think, and it has a whole effect. The same way Van Dijk, I think personally, made Robertson, Gomez, and Trent better players because it gives you that confidence to attack, knowing that you've got a world-class centre-back behind you. This now, and we saw Maguire for England. He loved to carry the ball forward. If you've got Lindelof next to you, you've got to be a little bit more hesitant to do that. Now he's got Rafael Varane, a leader, a world-class centre-back right next to him. I'll admit, didn't have the best Euros. Wasn't that great in the Euros. Maguire can now maybe push up a little bit more and have that confidence. Maybe he can have that confidence to step forward and say it's okay, because if he passes me, I'm confident in my centre-back partner next to me. This gives license to Luke Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka to maybe have again that confidence to attack forward. Pogba, breakout season for him. I'm saying it. Pogba, breakout season for him. Okay, Pogba, Bruno, yes, that other midfield, the third midfield spot is a bit questionable with Fred and McTominay looking to make the switch, and I would have loved if we could go out for like a Declan Rice or Wilfred Ndidi, someone like that. But at the same time, James Milner wasn't a fantastic player until they really won the league, and then he got credit for what he does. I see that being the same with Fred and McTominay. Maybe not to the same extent because I'll admit, over the two of them, I think it depends a lot on who we play against. If we play against West Ham, I think Fred should get the nod. If we want to be a little bit more sit back, a bit more tough, a bit more ruthless, bit more grit. I think McTominay plays. So it's all really got to depend. Same thing, Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho's at United. I think luckily, the one thing I will say is for Ole, I think he's not feeling the pressure right now as much as what I thought he would be feeling as a Manchester United fan as well as what I thought he would be feeling a couple of weeks ago. I think maybe the Messi signing has drowned it out a bit, like Sancho. I think the Jack Grealish signing has drowned it out a bit, like and takes it away the Sancho. I think people got so bored and tired of this Sancho transfer saga where it's like, all right, he's here, let's get on with it. One position that I also do think could come to a bit of a fault with us is the striker position. Okay, I'm a big fan of Cavani. Can he do it for 38 games in a season plus Champions League? Not sure. Is Martial good enough? I think Ole has lost total faith in Martial. I think he's lost total faith in him. So it's going to be very interesting. I think Greenwood will have a great season as well. And obviously Man City's second, not because they're going to be bad, it's because one team's going to be better than them, baby. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you disagree, please let me know in the comments down below. If you think your team is going to win the league, drop it in the comments. I'll be seeing you tomorrow, depending on when you see this, sometime soon with the 1-0 show. We've got a very special interview. So I'll catch you then. Man United, #21 is coming. Let's go.